Hello there everyone and welcome back. I am still interested in playing more Imperial Navy, especially with my Apocalypse. I did not feel like I had the opportunity to at least let this fleet shine, especially when I was fumbling a tiny bit trying to deal with the heavy amounts of bombers, because in truth, I think this is my first real time having to deal with the battleship heavy type of fleet since the patch, at least, since after all, when the patch did hit, I kind of just did 2 matches, I think, with the town merchant fleet, kind of experimenting with the possibility of an all battleship, or at least a battleship heavy type of fleet with the secret turrets, on top of course the buffs to the speed of the fighters and bombers. And then I played as a battleship heavy type of fleet there, and it was a bit awkward having to deal with Necrons since the convenience of them being able to just destroy the bombers immediately. But I never really had practice fighting against it outside of my time with the Azuyani, and with the mobility, it seems like I had a relatively easy time with them. So much so that I won all my matchups against, honestly I can't remember her name, but the one who was all scourges basically is what I'm trying to get at, which arguably in some situations would be a lot more fearsome, a lot more terrifying to deal with. So this is something I'm going to have to get used to, especially the 600 speeds on the bombers, sure. The assault ships always gone 600 unit speed, but at the same time they were kind of easier to kill, I think, just because there was less assault ships for each hangar bay. But I want to give it another go and try to continue to reacclimate myself with at least the not as finesse based type of factions, I guess is the proper term. And I'm really hoping to dive back into orcs. Really would like to try and find my own type of fleet with Necrons, since I don't really have much interest in playing with double tomb ships, or at least a top heavy type of Necron fleet, despite that being the most prevalent because of what I just said. Star Pulse generators are really damn helpful, and the more the merrier. And I kind of miss playing as Necron, or not Necron but Tyranids as well, so there's a lot of fun to be had, but that will all happen in time. For now, let's continue on with the Siege of Armageddon, since I'm still reading through that book bit by bit, and hopefully these series of matches go better for me. Okay, facing off immediately with Necron, and it remains to be seen if this opponent knows, or at least is utilizing, the battleship heavy type of fleet, or at least the Star Pulse generator heavy type of fleet. But even then, if you watch my Azuyani type of videos, you know how I talked about how difficult it can be hitting with the torpedoes. But with short burn torpedoes for the Imperial Navy, I can get so close that unless they can preemptively know I'm firing torpedoes at them, it's impossible for them to destroy those. I can actually, they go what? I think there's like a 1 second charge up, if not a little bit longer than that, so they can't really react to destroying these before they actually connect with their ships and do damage. The only downside is my melta torpedoes are completely useless, which isn't a huge issue, but I am seriously wondering what kind of skills I want in this case. Since Disruption Bomb can be powerful, but with only 20-second duration, it's only gonna pause or at least deny 100 health regeneration. That's assuming my opponent's even using that stance, so it doesn't feel like it's impactful, but at the same time, Supercharged Void Shield, I kind of been robbed with an opportunity to get value out of that last time. So I'm a little bit reluctant to use Supercharged Void Shield because of my previous experience. But it is still pretty much the best choice if we're dealing with nothing but lightning arcs. Otherwise, Culexus Assassin I could. I'm just wondering, since if I destroy a deck early, that gives me more opportunity to kind of like do morale damage. So I think but we need armor piercing as well. Who am I kidding? Since it's going to be that kind of fight, I just don't have the macro cannons to kind of justify it the best. Or at least not as much as I would otherwise, is what I mean to say. It's still a good amount of damage. A little bit of uncertainty, but can't go wrong with the armor piercing ammo. It's just a question if I can do better, given my kind of hybrid type of setup, focusing more on the lances as opposed to the macro cannons. It's definitely a no-brainer if I was all overlords, or at least utilizing overlords and tyrants instead, or even a retribution for that matter. The retribution would have a terrible time trying to get in close though. And I was gonna say, I wonder if the turrets here benefit from the armor-piercing ammo as well. Because I remember way back when the Exorcist, the Grand Cruiser that had the 4 fighter bays, did not actually benefit, at least the one time I noticed it or caught it. It did not benefit from armor-piercing ammo, and that thing had like 2 arrays of macro cannons. So I was a little bit questioning if that was the case here with the Apocalypse. Although, the one thing I kind of like with the Apocalypse here is even though... Oh. So what does that tell me? We're going to have to deal with the Scourges here quite well. Although, if I can get there pretty well. If I can get there in time, that at least denies the Scourges for a little bit of the fighters. I was not for life me expecting a bunch of Scourges though. And this is probably not going to be all that helpful either. I need to start playing for the next gas cloud. Yep, I should be able to easily deny these.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Now it just... Okay, so that worked out well. I gotta prepare again for next phase. Although Scourges of all the ships have like the best convenience of just getting vision without really sacrificing a lot of their fighter potential. Since they're the only ships that actually have 2 different abilities to launch fighters, interestingly enough. But once those recalled, then they are able to launch another fleet, so I gotta be ready for that, and watch for it no less. So where are these going? These are going to the Apocalypse. I sadly don't have a stasis bomb. I think the Apocalypse is going to get spotted. The only thing I could do is maybe have the fighters distract. Yeah. It's going to take a lot of damage in a moment. But if I can reveal those, I can... Yeah, I'm actually about to reveal them in a moment. Not exactly what I want, but... Let's try... Let's see about... Okay. I have also torpedoes. There's another trick to this that I have the benefit of. I just... What's the better weapon? Probably the weapons in all honesty, but... Melted torpedoes are great at distracting these fighters. Since they are, as I said, completely useless, so why not take advantage of them? Now, this is kind of the hard part of the way, but now I need more torpedo hits. Sadly, they're still on cooldown, so not the most convenient when I've been firing them aimlessly. This Scourge is all sorts of just about dead. The shields are going to absorb the plasma bomb, but... Can we kill these off quickly? Because I need to get turned around for another torpedo run. And I'm hoping... I don't know if it actually works that way or not, but I'm hoping that burns off the 9 seconds of time that these things have, too. And that was completely unnecessary use of... Come on, can I kill this? Kill this thing already. You have ramming spurs. 40% extra damage, so... Sadly, that is actually dead. Okay. Let's try and destroy this other one while we board the other to death. Ideally. And the crew... Okay, you jumped out of the way. Perfect. This sets up for torpedo potential. And a Nova can to boot. Now, let's try and finish this thing off nice and efficiently. And then hopefully the other one fall shortly after. The only problem is I kind of want to ram this thing because of the ramming spurs, although with me running out of combustion gauge, that's not as likely to happen anymore.
Engaging engines.
Come on, give me more torpedoes. Sadly, I have no more to show off there. I do want to keep boring this thing, though, with that said. And I do have rally in about a few seconds. I'm just not going to get the board I would like.
We wait your command.
The enemy has accumulated 25.
So I'm guessing I'm going to have to lightning strike this and deal with it the old-fashioned way.
Heading acknowledged. Your orders? Changing course.
Doing a lot of damage to the Apocalypse, but let's see.
Retros.
Torpedoes are up.
Aye, Admiral. Burn
Do I still have
retros.
brace for impact? I think I do.
Understood.
If I could kill one of these off, that helps a ton. Get your boosters going, damn it.
Ship ready.
Let's finish this off, and with the jump.
Our borders have caused internal
This.
damage.
Okay, never mind. That's idea.
Heading acknowledged.
I was hoping to get more damage in, but that all but seals the deal. I just got to board this last one now, which is going to be tricky because I need to reactivate my ship at the same time.
Send to strategic points.
And that was again a bad use of supercharged forward shield. I wasn't paying that much attention to my shield health, mainly because I relegate myself to their main source of damage, being on the fighters and not so much the lightning arcs. So
Engaging engines.
I paid no attention actually seeing what the lightning arcs were actually doing damage-wise.
We serve.
But now this should be a lot more manageable. I just need torpedo arcs
Ship ready.
and a good opportunity to hit with said torpedoes, which thankfully you got torpedoes back up.
Your orders?
And if your boosters are back up, you can help finish this thing off.
Aye, Admiral.
If that potentially could just kill it right now with the mutiny to boot. I kind of forgot I had the Kulex's Assassin, since it hasn't really been impactful so far with my previous lightning strikes. But that's game. A bit awkward and terrifying because again we're dealing with so many fighters, but it's as close as it can get with the chaos matches I had previously with all their bombers and heavy battle cruisers. So I like to think that it's possible I can still win against that chaos fleet despite how terrible those matches have been for me. Alright, so Chaos again, and I'm pretty certain this was the Chaos player we faced off against last time. I believe it was, what, a bunch of Grand Cruisers mostly, so if it's going to be more of the same, I might have a field day, provided my torpedoes do the damage that's expected of them. Although, it goes without saying that trying to fire and brute force melted torpedoes for the ridiculous damage and morale damage that they could do is a bit of a fallacy if not done properly. Especially if they're still utilizing the Grand Cruisers, they can easily dodge those. What I realistically would like to do is try and fire normal torpedoes with maybe one of these ships firing meltas to kind of at least, if I can realistically expect a hit with them, to force a repair of some kind. Ideally before we get into the actual engagement itself, because then any critical hits I put on them is going to stick for a long period of time. But that's assuming we're going to have pretty much the same kind of fleets we did before, which remains to be seen still. Also, let me regroup these. There we go. I gotta remember to start isolating these frigates, even though it is kind of unnecessary. So I think to help make it a little more simplified, we're just gonna group them with these fleets. That should make my life a lot easier than trying to keep in mind which frigate is which group and their placement constantly. At least this works a tiny bit better, since at least that way they kind of serve as, they take point for these sub-fleets. Now, how likely? Well, 2 gas clouds, not too worried about that. Stasis Bomb wasn't really necessary the last time, or the last few Chaos matches. And they don't have a they don't have Disruption Overcharge, so I'm interested in taking the Supercharged Void Shield. It's just a question, what would be good for the other skill, though? Stasis Bomb, it's useful for, well, I guess it's useful if they want to try and get aggressive with me, to a limited extent. Disruption Bomb, it has half the range of most of my lances, so ideally I expect the shields to be down before this truly does damage. It'd be great for bringing the shields back down otherwise, but now's not the time to reminisce.
Changing course.
Let's just see what we're up against here. It could very well be the same kind of fleet. And that gives away at least the mission dissipator, so they are going to have the tempo advantage as far as maybe getting the middle of the map.
Heading acknowledged.
But at least this Apocalypse can start moving forward relatively safely, with me just being able to conceal it immediately
The enemy
after.
has seized a strategic area.
So, what do I expect? That's the battleship. I think that goes without saying, just because of how quickly it grabbed the point. So, if not that, it might be just a Grand Cruiser. Since they have really good capture speed as well. And I haven't seen any fighters of note, so let's see about revealing them.
You have seized a strategic area.
And ideally, I would love to grab this point, but by the time I get there, I'm going to be in firing range of these, you would think I'd be in range of these Chaos ships, whatever they are. So I'm not realistically expecting to grab this point unhindered.
We serve.
So I should continue with the theme of using the Apocalypse kind of to draw some of the early fire. Although that's not likely to happen anytime soon, but at least boosting with it
Understood.
is going to be helpful to at least take point, since it's going to conceal itself at some point.
Setting course.
Yeah, let's find out what these ships are.
We wait your command.
Well, here comes the fighters. Sadly, I had to send out my fighters, but at least that gives away kind of what it is. Alright.
We serve. Your orders?
We'll see if the brace for impact does what's needed. And just boost and maybe delay. If I could kill some of these bombers, that helps a ton.
Coordinates acknowledged.
Half its strengths, so we
Force engaged.
barely took any damage.
You have
Well, it
seized
looks
a
like it anyway,
strategic
but
area.
let's not kid ourselves. That was almost 200 points of damage right there.
Setting course.
So, let's see what this ship is.
Enemy sighted.
Okay, so it is this spoiler.
Aye, Admiral.
We got a scanner pulse on that, so I'd love to kill the frigate, especially one with only 200 health on it. It's just a shame I had to switch the brace for impact. Now I have no opportunity to do free damage to this thing.
Aye, Admiral. Shark assault boats on their way.
There,
Changing course.
maybe a questionable use, but wow, it got a mutiny really damn fast.
Engaging.
And considering how top heavy my opponent is, that may be the only frigate they have.
Understood.
I wasn't expecting State Spawn to be used in such a defensive manner, but I guess I'll take it. Because now, well, Novacan is kind of useless right now until the shields go down. If I were to be serious.
We wait your command. Ship ready.
But at least I got an amazing arc of fire to hit with maybe both
Aye, Admiral.
sides of my weapon.
Underway. Your orders?
Now,
Understood. We serve.
there's a fire there. I want to kind of force a repair of some kind. That was another bad use of supercharged forward shield. I assumed the shields were recharging as opposed to being at half strength.
We wait your command.
But that was a good melta torpedo shot there.
Acknowledged.
Ram it for good measure.
Aye, Admiral. We wait your command.
And my boarding parties were completely useless. They got shot down immediately from the looks of it. I launched assault boats there. I don't see assault boats, so I'm left to believe that they're completely useless from here on out.
Reporting successful boarding action.
The enemy is seizing one of your strategic areas.
Alright,
Engines.
let's keep this torpedo salvo going.
Brace for impact.
Now that we don't need to utilize lock-on as much anymore.
Coordinates acknowledged. We wait your command.
And all the while, keep an eye on what's low health.
Understood.
Because you're out for the count until a rally is burnt. You're about... Well, I was going to say you're about to join suit. That deck should get destroyed. Actually, I don't have it prioritized, so let me do that quickly. I don't think it's going to be permanently destroyed, but once it breaks, it's out of the fight completely.
Underway.
The enemy has accumulated 25%.
So that's 2 Grand Cruisers out of the fight. Now let's try and get this Apocalypse in the fight.
Vessel lost.
Although, oh, your engines are permanently damaged, so you're going to have a hard time hitting anything with torpedoes. Outside the one that's kind of out of the fight, so
Wait your command.
if it dies, that's more morale damage, so I'm happy to take it. There. That's not going to do much aside for morale damage, which I'm fine with. That jumped the hell out, so that means we basically won if that's going to forfeit its position.
Engaging target.
There's not much left it can do. We just gotta clean up the rabble
Ready.
at this
You have
point.
seized a strategic area.
And I do have a stasis bomb.
Possible, Admiral.
Now, let's correct this.
Heading acknowledged.
Preferably without ramming my own ships at the same time, since I do have a good handful of them at low health. One of which with a permanent engine destruction. Let's keep that in mind too.
Underway.
Its combustion gauge should be almost burnt. Hell,
Burn retros.
its engine, its mobility issues are no longer existent.
Engines.
We just got a lucky series of critical hits there. And Brace for Impact's still doing its work.
We serve.
Just gotta keep in mind, well, my opponent has 3 objectives, but that's not an issue.
Your command.
Prioritize the deck, I think, since it's about to break and the engines are permanently gone, so that is something I really need to start taking advantage of, is prioritizing components that are when, like in this case, I prioritize the engines. When they're permanently gone, I need to remember to reprioritize to another relevant component, since that's something that could have helped me a ton with my Agiani matchups quite a bit. And with a permanent engine destruction, that seals the deal.
Ship ready.
So sadly, on fire, you're probably not going to live to tell the tale or spot for me.
By the lightning strike.
But these assault ships are pretty much useless. Now, gotta keep tabs on mobility. Like I said,
Changing
these ships
course.
can easily kill themselves if I'm not careful.
Lightning strike successful.
And as soon as well, you have emission dissipators. I don't want to get too. I want to.
We serve.
I want to make sure I actually get some damage in.
Engaging engines.
So forcing you boost, I was gonna say, is not gonna reveal you. That's kind of what I was hoping to do.
Burn retros.
All right.
Your orders.
So that's pretty much out of the fight. I'll get points for that soon. I can start grabbing objectives, and we can have fighters to kind of reveal them quickly.
You have accumulated 50% of strategic points.
And let's not forget, well, I gotta be mindful that this might be a mistake with how low my crew is getting. You're gonna be safe in a moment. That was a bit of a blind shot, but I think it's relevant here.
Aye, Admiral.
I think I'll still get the reveal.
Enemy sighted.
So that's all sorted screwed right now.
Aye, Admiral. Setting course.
Now I just gotta make sure these torpedoes do what's expected of them.
Changing course.
And all at the same time. Oh, at least I can feel easier knowing I'm not the only one screwing up with my supercharged forward shield.
Coordinates acknowledged.
I can be thankful there. Meanwhile, my shields are doing well and their fighters are not doing what's necessary. That is a crap ton of morale damage you're about to take.
We serve. For the Emperor.
I still need those shields to come down if I hope to fire a Nova Can shot, because it's kind of pointless otherwise,
We wait your command.
if I'd be serious, but morale damage is doing its thing.
We serve.
There, this thing's screwed. I think it burnt a lot of its combustion gauge.
Setting course. Maximum burn. Course engaged.
It burnt a lot of it, but it's still got enough. Ooh, there's a nice little bonus right there.
Heading acknowledged.
Oh, and I'm forgetting my boarding. That was a perfect opportunity to board, especially with the Kulex's assassin. Now this thing's out of the fight completely.
Crews report success.
Alright, so that's
Enemy ship
game.
crippled by the lightning strike.
Now I just gotta grab the objectives,
Your orders.
and we can call it a wrap.
Understood.
Now, was that it? That is it. That was definitely fun. Although, now I'm itching to play against the battleship heavy type of fleet, or correctly, the despoiler heavy type of fleet, to see just how manageable it is to realistically deal with those fighters without really compromising. Because sure, I could go with an additional like dictator. Is it even possible to get an exorcist? Yeah, but the problem here is absolutely no frigates, which I kind of loathe, even though I kind of am doing something like that with my Chaos fleet currently. I just haven't played a single match with the Hellbringer and the Spoiler to see how practical that is. Ooh, we're gonna face off against orcs. Sure, it looks like it may be, well, Warhawk. I'm pretty certain I may have encountered that name somewhere before. I honestly, for the life of me, can't remember where. But judging by the fact that they're not the evil sons, we're not gonna be dealing with, like, at least what the norm would be. Hell, it's even matching colors, matching aesthetic almost, for what we're facing off against. So, Armageddon versus, what would yellow be for orcs? I honestly can't remember what the faction would be. It's the one that has the upgrade that increases the accuracy of the flagship. That's all I can remember. I just, for the life of me, can't remember what the faction was called there otherwise, or a sub-faction rather. But we should be prepared for anything still, even though we're technically not going to have to worry about the big red button and all that good stuff. And realistically, we're going to have a big skirmish right here over on the far left, so just for sake of consistency, let's at least have something over here to grab the objective, even though that point's probably not going to play any part for this entire battle, if I had to guess. Now, only thing I can really think of is maybe Stasis Bomb to kind of delay any Mega Cannon getting close to me. Only thing I could think of here. And I'm gonna want to fire torpedoes early too, with that said.
Changing course.
Okay. So this is all battleships then. What else would cost so many points? I need at least one of them to prioritize the deck. At least one, maybe two or three, I suppose. And there's the flagship there, and it definitely has a tracked cannon. All fighter bays to boot. Now, I'm assuming they're going after a flagship, right? Oh, and the torpedoes too. So we have an easy way to at least deny them hitting what they want. Although, I'm annoyed that I let the flagship or the frigate not have assault running active, but
We wait your command.
this is an easy way to deal with those. Just keep in mind, orc fighters do damage once they reach my ship. They don't have any bombers for doing damage, but the fighters will do damage like that of the
Coordinates acknowledged.
Necron if I'm not careful. And I would love to try and hit this flagship. Just gotta watch its heading some. Since, like I said, one Melta, and everything else is regular torpedoes. Just so I'm not burning what is probably going to be my most valuable weapon. Oh, they're not even fighters, they're boarding ships. Oh,
Execute high energy
well, this frigate's kind of MVP. It's dead, but it's kind of MVP for burning so many of these assault ships.
We serve.
So there's some hidden benefit right now.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Although my fighter squadron could have dealt with that really damn well too.
Interceptors in flight.
And sadly, not gonna hit the battleship, but we're gonna hit everything else decently. We hit this one at least. And I don't know if any torpedoes hit that. All I know is repairs were spent.
Changing course.
That's all I could truly say there.
Engaging engines.
Now let's try one more, this time with all the Meltas. Although, let's have a little bit of a spread just in case.
Understood.
And torpedoes are coming at me, so
Burn retros.
I kind of want to flatten my arc a tiny bit. And at the same time, this will burn their boosters without a doubt, so I'm not realistically expecting this to do anything. If I were to be serious. Sadly, I wish those melted torpedoes had done more.
wait your command. Engaging. Your orders. Fury.
Alright, let the fighters do their things. These are... Okay, sap cans. I did not check upgrades. Although they're not all that scary. Not yet, anyway.
Underway.
Although, thankfully, we hit the one that at least burnt its repairs.
The enemy has
So,
seized
you
a
know what we're going to
strategic
focus on
area.
for the melta torpedoes then.
Engaging engines.
And once the deck's gone, get this... Well, actually, I should get the flagship in range for immediate lightning strike. This is potentially 2 ships out of the fight immediately.
Your orders.
Engaging engines.
Prioritize deck on this, because this is going to break in a couple of moments. Actually, the flagships are right here, so they could still rally.
We wait your
That is
command.
entirely likely.
We wait your command.
Although, I didn't realize there were multiple type...
Engines.
Oh, okay.
We serve.
Gotta be careful.
We wait your
They still got heavy guns, so that could be a big damn scare, but
Coordinates acknowledged.
once we deal with the flagship, that'll help a ton. Oh, there's 3 battleships, I take that back. I'm really bad at doing my math, but on the plus side, we're doing a really good job with dealing with the supercharged voice shield got its full value in.
Ship ready. Underway.
So brace for impact.
Your orders.
We lost the cruiser. That is out of range of the rally, so that's at least out of the fight. Now I just need an opportunity to hit with more torpedoes. And a good way to do that is to force these things from not being able to turn around easily.
We wait your command.
acquiring new vector.
Now sadly, no more melted torpedoes on this one. And your torpedoes have been shot. Oh, I lost 2 of my torpedoes with that said.
Your orders.
Now what do I want to break next? The flagship, dang it. I'm just out of range of the flagship for that to really be as effective as I want. Oh, I need to kill its shields too. That might be part of the reason there.
Coordinates acknowledged.
I want the shields of the flagship gone, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Understood.
And I think I'm out of torpedoes at this point with all of them being heavily damaged.
Acknowledged.
Impossible, Admiral.
We serve.
So we're going to have to try this the old-fashioned way.
Burn retros.
Let's just break it.
We serve.
It's less damage for me to worry about.
Changing course.
Since now that I don't have torpedoes, I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. And
Ready.
let's see, 20 seconds till repairs there.
Engaging engines.
Your engines are gone.
Wait your command.
Your deck's gone, which is why I want you to break, but
25% of strategic points.
let's just boost everything out, ideally.
Para.
Your orders.
Gonna be awkward to do that,
Maximum burn.
but I am rallying my ship so far.
By the lightning strike.
Okay, we have hope there. This flagship's about to die.
Coordinates acknowledged.
Accumulated 25% of
And interestingly enough, the tractor cannon did something different, odd there.
Assault crew.
I don't know what exactly happened to the tractor cannon. Since I know it launched.
Engaging.
Those 2 ships are out. Let's kind of collect ourselves a bit here. We're not out of the woods yet.
Assault boats on their way.
When's the lightning strike? That's the big factor here. 20 seconds.
Wait your command.
The flagship's easily going to survive until then.
Coordinates acknowledged.
And 5 seconds till more torpedoes. So let's get ready for that, shall we?
We serve.
Okay, I take that back. I'm not going to get much of a torpedo hit. Especially with the wreckage I just fired into, damn it.
Aye, Admiral.
But with the fire assaults and this lightning strike, damn it.
Impossible, Admiral.
I take that back. I got excited for no reason. The shields went and ruined everything.
Setting course.
Just give it a few more moments, though.
We serve.
It now has no way to recover from this.
Course engaged.
Alright. So that was tense, but if those were mega cannons, I probably would have been pretty screwed. Since that's kind of what mega cannons do after all. So I could have managed that a tiny bit better and... WOG. Basically what that does without specific upgrades is only increases your chance of doing critical boarding actions by up to 20%. So it's not very significant unless you're the Goth clan. Is my experience anyway. Is it Goth? Yeah. Because when you have the Ard boys to boost that up even further, then it becomes significant with the WOG because that brings it up to 40% critical assault chance. Either way, if those were mega cannons, I fear that should have been a loss. Oh, especially since they would have had more ships as well. Let's keep that in mind too. They were utilizing, at least it was the battleship that had all the fighter bays. Keep that in mind.